Welcome back to Academic Academy SA. Today we are focusing on taxation, which is a crucial mathematical literacy topic for both grade 10, 11, as well as 12. So in order to master this topic, you must know the above components. You must be able to give the full acronym of SARS, which is South African Revenue Service. You must also be able to explain tax rebates. Tax rebates are the amount of money which SARS reduces tax according to age. You must be able to explain what is tax threshold. Tax threshold is the minimum amount of money that a person must earn in order to be taxed by SARS. You must also be able to calculate the minimum tax. The minimum tax is usually calculated according to the previous tax bracket, but we'll get into that. So you must also be able to calculate the annual taxable income. And in order to calculate the annual taxable income, you must reduce pension fund as well as the donations in the taxable income, and then multiply it with 12 months in order to get the annual taxable income. You must also be able to calculate the annual tax payable. We'll get into that. You must also be able to reduce the medical aid or minus the medical aid credits from the tax payable. So you must be able to calculate these. So, in order to calculate the annual tax payable, there are 5 steps that you must follow. These 5 steps will guarantee you that you get the most accurate and mark collecting tax payable. So there are 5 steps that you must follow. Step 1 is you must calculate the annual taxable income. Step 2 is you must use your annual taxable income to identify the tax bracket. And then step 3, you must calculate the tax payable according to the tax bracket that you actually identified. And then in step 4, you must subtract the rebates, the tax rebates, and the medical aid credits from the tax payable. So if it happens that they want your tax payable in months, you'll then go into step 5 and divide that tax payable by 12 months in order to get the monthly tax payable. So now we'll be getting into a question paper that will allow us to actively implement our understanding of taxation. So now we are on question 2.2 in order to implement our understanding of taxation on a true question paper that is possible to actually come in the final examination. So the question 2.2 scenario says, employees contribute tax monthly through SARS. Chloe is a 51-year-old educator who earns 34,447 and 22 cents monthly and contributes 7.5% of her gross salary towards pension fund. She also has medical aid for herself, husband, and 2 children. The tax table below is used to calculate the amount each person will contribute according to his or her salary. So we are having 2 tables, which is the first table for the taxable income and the second table for the tax rebates, and the third table for the tax for the medical credits that we are using to calculate the tax payable. Alright, so let's get into the questions. We are having question 2.2.1. Question 2.2.1 says, write down the acronym of SARS in full. We know that, as I've already explained, SARS, the acronym of SARS in full, it's South, S for the South African Revenue Service. South African Revenue Service is the full acronym of SARS in full. I hope everyone is actually following. So to go to the second question says, write down the number of tax brackets in the personal income tax table. So in order to calculate or to write down, you must count the number of tax brackets in the table below on the part that says taxable income. So if we count them, we actually see that there are, let's see, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we can conclude that for question 2.2.2, we are having 7 tax brackets. We are having 7 tax brackets. I hope everyone is following, and if you're following, just consider to hit that like button. So to move to question 2.2.3, which says, show by means of calculations how the minimum amount of 77,362 charged from one of the tax bracket is calculated. This question just wants us to calculate the minimum tax, which is what I've been telling you that we calculated according to the previous tax bracket. So to calculate the minimum tax, you must actually go to the third tax bracket and identify what you must calculate, which is 77,362. Then you go to the previous tax bracket that says 42,678. 42,678 plus 26%, and it can be written as 26 over 100, or you can still write it as in percentage. So in order to calculate this minimum tax, you must actually use the amounts in the taxable income for the second tax bracket, which are, you just multiply by those amounts, which is 370,500 minus 237,100. So these are the amounts that you find in the taxable income of the second tax bracket. So whenever you are like this, you are close to getting your marks. But in order to get your marks in full, you must actually write this in full, but not just punch this onto your calculator. So in order to write this in full, we can actually go ahead and look at what's in our bracket, and we then subtract these two. We subtract these two. So we're firstly gonna write this 42,678 plus 26 over 100 multiplied by 370,500 minus 237,100. It gives us an amount of 133,400. So then from here we focus on the multiplication, because multiplications come first before addition. So then we are gonna have to say 42,678 plus what's 26% of 133,400. It turns out it's 83,000. If you punch this in your calculator, it will give you 33,000 and 46, which is then when we add these two together, they're going to give us our minimum tax of 77,362, which is what is wanted. So when you arrive to this point, you know that you actually succeeded to find your minimum tax. And the way that they are going to mark this, they are not going to mark the final answer. They're just going to mark the third step, the second, as well as the first, so that you can actually get your full marks without punching this answer to the calculator. So then we are moving on to question 2.2.4. Question 2.2.4. Question 2.2.4 says, give the meaning of the term tax rebate according to the given context. Tax rebate according to the given context. According to the given context. Whenever you are asked a contextual question in mathematical literacy, you just have to include one component of the scenario. So in this scenario, we are having Chloe, and we know that tax rebate actually means the amount of money which SARS reduces tax owed according to age. So in order to contextualize the meaning of tax rebate, we're actually going to say tax rebate is the money, it's the amount of money, money. In simple terms, you can just say money. It sounds way more nicer like that. Money is the amount of money which SARS. So to add to the context, we can just say is the amount of money which SARS reduces Chloe, or we can just say is the amount of money which SARS reduces the tax owed by Chloe. It's Chloe. I don't know how to spell the name because this is a very, very good name. Chloe, C-H-L-O-E. Yeah. Is the amount of money which SARS reduces the tax owed by Chloe according to her age. This is the key word in this definition. According to her age. According to her age. According to her age. Just like that, you already have the 2 marks from just knowing and contextualizing the meaning of tax rebate. So let's move on to question 2.2.5. So we are now on question 2.2.5, which says, Chloe said that her monthly, remember, monthly tax contribution is 3,550 and 25 cents. Verify showing all calculations whether her statement is correct. So we're actually verifying. So in order to verify, we must actually calculate her monthly tax payable, the amount of tax that she pays monthly. So in order to calculate the tax payable or the amount of tax that she pays monthly, we must use those 5 steps that I actually went over. The 5 steps, if you remember them, please type them in the comment section to show that you are actually able to recall them. Don't copy, please. So step 1, you must actually calculate the annual taxable income. That's what you must know. Step 1, you always calculate the annual taxable income. So in this case, Chloe actually does not have donations, but she pays a pension fund. She contributes towards her pension fund. So we're just going to say her monthly salary of 34,447 and 22 cents multiplied by 7.5 over 100. Then we are going to multiply this to get her pension fund of 2,583 5415. Remember, in mathematical literacy, we do not round off while we are still calculating. We round off at the end so that we can get the most accurate answer. So this is our pension fund. So we're actually going to have to subtract our pension fund from our salary in order to get our taxable income. So it's going to be 34,447 and 22 cents minus our 2,583 5415, which is our pension fund. We minus this to get our taxable income of 31,863 670 600 okay 6785. So this is our taxable income. This is the amount of money that SARS can charge tax on. So in order to get our annual taxable income, we're going to multiply this with 12 months. 12 months. Which will give us an amount of, if we multiply this, it's going to give us 364 142. So in this case, we can just round it to 2 decimal places, and just, since 2 cannot change 4, we just leave it like this. So our annual taxable income is 382,364 and 14 cents. Yeah. So then we move to our step 2. By the way, you are allowed to write these steps in your examination paper or answer sheet. Yes, step 2, we are going to use this annual taxable income to identify our tax bracket. And according to our tax bracket, we can conclude that our amount falls under tax bracket 3. So you can just say tax bracket 3. Simple as that. So then this allows us to move to our step 3, where we are actually calculating using the step 3. So on step 3, we're actually going to use the tax rates of 77,362 plus 31 over 100 multiplied by. So since we actually concluded that our annual taxable income is between the amount, the taxable income rates on the third bracket, we can actually put this amount here and say 382,364 14 cents minus the minimum amount in the tax bracket, 3, which is 370,000, 370,500. 500. I'm sorry to those who cannot see, but I must force it. Yeah, it's like this. Yeah. Okay, so since I told you that in order to get full marks, you must extend this. You must actually extend this. But for my sake and for time's sake, I cannot extend this. Instead, I'm just gonna punch this into a calculator to get the amount of 81,039.88. So remember, in your case, you must actually extend this, like how I did on the minimum tax. You must extend this, but in my case, I'm not extending to save time. And then this is my tax payable. You're also going to get this if you are following with me. So then for my tax payable, I can now, since I found my tax payable, I can now move to step 4 to minus the tax rebates as well as the medical aid credits. Alright, so I'm just gonna say 81,039.88 we are going to minus the tax rebates. So in order to minus the tax rebates, the age of the person will actually guide you into choosing the correct tax rebates. So in this case, where Chloe is a 51-year-old, so since she's a 51-year-old, she's under the age of 65. This means you will only receive the primary tax rebate of 16,425. So this is the only tax rebate you'll only receive. Then we are actually going to subtract her medical aid credits. So in order to calculate her medical aid credits, we must look at the amount of medical aid she pays, and we can determine that by looking at the dependents or the people she pays medical aid for. So in this case, she has, according to the scenario, she has medical aid for herself, number 1, for her husband, number 2, and her 2 children. So herself and her husband are actually, she's going to be the taxpayer and her husband is going to be the first dependent. So they're actually both having, they're going to have to pay 347, both of them. Then they also have their 2 children. Their 2 children, they are additional dependents. So the 2 children will actually pay 247, both of them. So then we can just punch this into the calculator to actually get the amount that she pays for the medical aid. So let's rewrite this properly. I hope you're enjoying the video, guys, so far. And if you don't understand, feel free to address your confusions in the comment section. We are here for you. Okay, so then now on, you have to then subtract this tax rebate as well as the medical aid credits to have the actual amount of tax that she has to pay. So according to the calculations, she'll have to pay an amount of 63,452 and 88 cents. So this is the amount of tax she pays in a year. It's an annual tax. This is the annual tax that she pays. So according to the scenario, we are looking for the monthly tax. And remember, in order to look for the monthly tax, therefore we'll move to the fifth step, which is step 5. So we're just going to say our tax, and we divide it by 12 months to get our monthly. To get our monthly tax, which is just gonna give us 5,287 and 74 cents. 74 cents, né? So this is the amount of tax that Chloe pays per month, and according to her claim, we can conclude that her claim, we can just say therefore her claim is incorrect. It's incorrect because this is the amount of tax she pays per month, and it's not aligned with the one she claimed, which means that she is wrong, because according to our accurate calculations, 5,287 is the amount that she's going to pay. So this is how a tax rebate question is answered. As simple as that, you can now gain all the marks in the tax rebate questions, no matter how they give them to you. So if you have any questions, or if you have any topics that you want me to go through or to cover, comment them in the comment section, or you can follow our WhatsApp channel, our TikTok channels, and also address your confusions there. Anyway, guys, thank you. Please like the video, like and subscribe.